You keep falling for people who can't love you, not because you enjoy pain, but because somewhere deep inside, pain feels like home. There's a part of you that recognizes distance, silence, inconsistency as something familiar, something that once meant love. You don't choose these people consciously. You're drawn to them instinctively, the way your body moves toward what it remembers, even when your mind begs you to walk away. Falling for someone emotionally unavailable isn't a failure of logic. It's the nervous system trying to finish a story that began long ago, one where love was something you had to earn. Maybe you grew up believing affection was conditional. Maybe you learned early that attention had to be fought for, that comfort was always temporary. Somewhere between survival and desire, you started confusing chaos for connection. That's why, when someone shows up with calm energy, with stable affection, you don't feel the spark. You say there's no chemistry, when what you really mean is there's no danger. You've been taught that love is supposed to hurt a little, so when it doesn't, it feels foreign. And instead of safety, you feel boredom. Instead of peace, you feel distance. Your heart starts to crave the chase, the uncertainty, the high of almost being loved. The people who can't love you give you just enough to keep you hopeful, and just enough distance to keep you addicted. It's not love you're chasing, it's a hit of emotional adrenaline. The same loop that drives addiction runs through the way you fall for people who are half available, half gone. At first, it feels intoxicating. They look at you like you're the only one. You feel chosen, seen, wanted. It's intense, consuming, almost cinematic. You start to believe you've finally found the person who understands you. But then something shifts. They pull away. They go quiet. They stop showing up in the same way. And instead of leaving, you start working harder. You text first. You overthink. You rationalize their distance as mystery, their lack of care as emotional depth. You convince yourself they're scared of love, when maybe they just don't want to stay. You begin to shrink your needs to keep them close. You silence your feelings to avoid pushing them away. You call it patience, but really it's self-abandonment dressed as devotion. Each small gesture of affection becomes a lifeline. You start living for crumbs, and your heart treats them like a feast. It's not your fault. You've been conditioned to mistake inconsistency for passion. The highs and lows create an emotional roller coaster that your brain interprets as love. Every withdrawal creates panic. It's the same cycle that keeps gamblers playing long after they've lost everything. The hope that the next pull will finally win. The truth is, you're not trying to make them love you. You're trying to prove that you're worthy of love at all. Your mind knows they're not right for you, but your body keeps reaching for them, because your body remembers the loneliness of not being chosen, the ache of waiting for affection that never came. And this time, it's determined to win. If you can make this person love you, maybe you can finally rewrite the story. Maybe you can finally stop feeling like the unlovable one. But the past can't be healed through repetition. The people who trigger your deepest wounds can't also be the ones to close them. You're trying to build a home inside the same kind of storm that once destroyed you. The most painful truth to accept is that love is not meant to be earned. If it requires you to beg, to prove, to perform, it's not love. It's emotional survival. And the reason you keep ending up in these cycles is because you still believe you have to work for what should come naturally. Somewhere along the way, love became synonymous with effort. But love doesn't bloom in exhaustion. Love doesn't demand that you lose yourself to be worthy of staying. Real love expands you. You fall for people who can't love you because they mirror the parts of you that still crave validation. They make you feel like you're back in that childhood room, waiting for someone to notice, to choose to say you're enough. And even though the adult part of you knows this isn't right, the child in you still believes love must be chased. So you keep running after people who make you feel the same old ache, hoping this time it will end differently. But the story doesn't change until you do. Healing begins when you stop chasing what hurts, when you stop trying to turn rejection into belonging. It begins when you start listening to your own discomfort instead of ignoring it. Your body tells the truth before your mind can rationalize it. The tightness in your chest when you wait for their reply, the sinking feeling when they cancel again, the panic when they pull away. That's not chemistry, it's anxiety. Love should calm your nervous system, not activate it. Love should make you feel safe enough to breathe, not small enough to disappear. Walking away from someone who can love you feels like dying because you were not just losing them, you're re-losing the fantasy of what you hoped they could become. You're grieving not only the person, but the dream of finally being enough for someone who withholds affection. But that grief is sacred. It's the bridge between illusion and truth. Let yourself feel it, cry, rage, miss them. And then remember, you're not mourning the loss of love. You're mourning the loss of a pattern that has kept you trapped. As you heal, you'll start to notice new kinds of people. They won't make your heart race with anxiety. They'll feel calm, steady, real. And at first your mind will say, "This is too easy. This can't be love." But that's because peace feels unfamiliar when you've lived inside chaos. Let yourself stay anyway. Let your nervous system learn that love can be gentle. Let your heart learn that love can be quiet. Love that doesn't hurt is not boring. It's safe, and safety is what your younger self always needed. Healing doesn't happen overnight. You'll still feel drawn to familiar pain sometimes. You'll still think about reaching out to the ones who couldn't love you. That's okay. It's part of unlearning. What matters is that now you can see the pattern clearly. You can feel the difference between being wanted and being used. You can recognize that love shouldn't cost your self-worth. You no longer confuse attention with affection. You no longer see chaos as proof of depth. One day, you'll look back and realize that every unavailable person you loved was a teacher. They showed you where you were still wounded, where you still settled, where you still chased validation instead of love. They taught you what you no longer need. And in that realization, there's freedom. Because love that hurts is not love. It's a lesson. And once you've learned it, you don't have to keep repeating it. The moment you choose peace over drama, you start attracting people who speak the language of calm. The moment you decide that you no longer want to prove your worth, you start attracting people who see it instantly. You are not too much. You are not hard to love. You've just been trying to be loved by people who don't know how to give it. It's not your fault that you learned love through pain, but it is your responsibility to unlearn it. You can teach your heart that love doesn't have to be earned, that love doesn't mean suffering. You can teach yourself that the right kind of love doesn't leave you questioning your value. So the next time you feel yourself falling for someone who gives you mixed signals, pause. Ask yourself, is this love, or is this the echo of my old wounds calling me back home? Remember that you deserve more than almost love. You deserve the kind of love that feels like peace, not survival. The kind that makes you exhale instead of overthink. The kind that meets you where you are, not where you have to chase. You keep falling for people who can love you because you are still learning that real love doesn't require you to beg. But you're getting closer. Every heartbreak brings you nearer to yourself. Every time you choose to walk away from what hurts, you reclaim a piece of your soul. One day, love will come quietly. It won't demand, it won't confuse, it will simply stay. And when it does, you'll know you've healed, because peace will finally feel like home.